6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Have you ever wondered what makes jet soar through the sky with such power and speed? The answer lies in one fascinating invention, that is jet engines. Jet engines are not just the machines, they are the very soul that gives life to the modern aircraft. Their design power and the engineering are not short of any extraordinary. For example, a engine takes in about 1,000 kgs of air every second. Hi, I'm Yashash Gupta, and
Hi, I'm Abhijit, and we will be your co pilots as we journey through the incredible world of jet engines. In this video, we will explore different type of jet engines, understand how they work, and also uncover the history behind these powerful machines. So, fasten your seatbelts as we take off into the fascinating world of jet engines.
in 1930s, two visionaries, Frank and Hans, independently conceived the turbojet engines. The groundbreaking design laid the foundation of modern aviation, forever changing the skies. The Gloucester and the Hankel, the pioneer aircraft, which demonstrated the potential of jet engines, they achieved the speed which cannot be imaginable, and with the propellant drive planes. World War II accelerated jet engines development, leading to the introduction of the first fighter jet, the Gloucester Meteor, showcased immense speed and power with jet propulsion. In this video, we'll be going through basic principles of jet engines, types of jet engines, and their applications.
Now that we know jet engines are the powerhouse of flight, let's break one open piece by piece and explore what's actually going on inside. The components of jet engine are as follows. The first one is inlet. This is the front part of the engine. Its job is to grab air from the atmosphere as the airplane moves. Just like when you stick your hand out of a moving car window, the air pushes against it. The faster the plane moves, the more air the intake pulls in. The intake also smoothens the airflow so that the rest of engine receives air at the right speed and pressure. Basically, it's like the nose of the engine that collects fresh air and passes it on. The second component is compressor. After the air is taken in from the inlet, it goes into the compressor, which is like a powerful fan with many spinning blades. Its job is to squeeze the air into smaller space, increasing its pressure and temperature. Why do we squeeze the air? Because when air is compressed, it reacts more strongly when fuel is added. That means more power during combustion. The compressor has multiple stages. Some blades spin, called as rotors, while some stay still, called as stators. Together, they gradually compress the air. Without this stage, the engine would not have enough power to lift a plane. The third component is the combustion chamber. Here's where the magic really happens. In the combustion chamber, fuel is sprayed into the compressed air and ignited. This creates a huge amount of heat and expanding gases. Imagine spraying deodorant into a flame. Please don't do this, but it explodes real quick. That's how fast and powerful the combustion here is, but in a controlled way. The temperature here can go over 1000 degrees centigrade, but the materials used are built to handle that. So, this part is like the heart of the engine. The fourth component is the turbine. The turbine comes right after the combustion chamber. The hot, high pressure gases produced from combustion are now used to spin the turbine blades. These spinning blades are connected to the same shaft that drives the compressor we saw earlier. So part of the energy is recycled to keep the engine running. You can think of the turbine like a mini windmill inside the engine, spinning because of the hot gases rushing through it. The last component of the engine is nozzle or exhaust, which is like the tailpipe. Here, the remaining high-speed gases are pushed out of the engine at even faster speeds. This sudden, fast exit of gases create a strong push in the opposite direction, called thrust. This is what moves the airplane forward. Think of it like a balloon. If you let go of a balloon without tying it, the air rushes out and the balloon flies in the opposite direction. That is what happening here, but with much more control and power.
A jet engine works on a simple but powerful principle: suck, squeeze, bang, and blow. Let's break it down. Intake: air is sucked into the front of the engine through the air intake. As the aircraft move forward, high speed air rushes into the engine. Then comes compression. The incoming air passes through a series of rotary blades into the compressor, which compresses the air, increases its pressure and temperature. This step is important because compressed air burns more efficiently in the next stage. The combustion, the most important stage of all the stages. The high pressure air is then mixed with fuel in the combustion chamber and ignited. This causes a powerful explosion that rapidly heats and expands the air. This expansion of hot gas is the source of engine's thrust. The exhaust. The high speed gases shoot out of the nozzle at the back of the engine. Thanks to Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. The backward force of the exhaust pushes the aircraft forward. That's thrust, and that's what makes the plane fly.
Now that we have understood jet engines and its main parts, let's explore the different types of jet engines. Although all of them follow the same principle: air in, squeeze it, burn it, throw it out, they are designed differently based on what kind of aircraft they power. Now, let's explore 6 different types of jet engines one by one in the simplest way possible. The very first type is the turbojet engine. This is the original type of jet engine. It's the simplest and oldest version, mainly used in early military aircraft. In a turbojet, all the air goes straight through the engine. It's compressed, burned with fuel, passes through the turbine, and shoots out of the nozzle to create thrust. It's like a straight pipe with fire inside, making a lot of speed and noise. They are considered good because they are very fast at higher altitudes and because of their simplistic design. But they are also very loud, burns more fuel, and not efficient at lower speeds. The second type of engine is the turbofan engine. This is the most common type of engine used today, especially in the passenger airplanes. At the front, there is a big fan. Some of the air goes through the core of the engine, like in a turbojet, but most of it bypasses the engine, flowing around it and providing extra thrust. This bypassed air cools the engine and makes it quieter and more efficient. They are considered because they are quieter, more fuel efficient, better for long distance travel. But they are also heavier and more complex than turbojets. The third type is the turboshaft engine. This one is specially designed for helicopters and machines that don't need forward thrust but instead need power to rotate something. The hot gases from the engine spin a shaft connected to rotors or machines, not to move the aircraft forward. The fourth kind are the ramjet and scramjet engines. These are super high-speed engines used in missiles and experimental aircraft. They have no moving parts, no fan, no compressor, nothing. Then how? Here it is. Air is compressed just by flying extremely fast. Then fuel is added and burned, and the gases shoot out the back. Scramjets are an even faster version, supersonic combustion ramjets, that work at hypersonic speeds. The consideration is because they are extremely fast, great for missiles and space planes, but they can't work unless already flying at very high speed. Missiles and NASA's X-43 experimental aircraft could be followed as an example for this. The final variation could be the future called as hybrid jet engines. These are the newest and most futuristic engines, combining jet engines with electric motors or different jet types in one engine. Some hybrid engines use electric power during takeoff and jet power once the plane is in the air. Others switch between turbojet and ramjet modes based on speed. They are designed to be cleaner, quieter, and more eco-friendly. They sound to be good because they have reduced emissions, they are quiet, and also futuristic potential. But they are still being tested, not widely used. The Rolls-Royce E-Fan X project is the hybrid electric one, and SR-72 is a turbo ramjet one. They are considered to be examples for this.
Now, we are going to explore something we all notice but do not always think deeply about the noise made by the jet engines. We will begin by understanding what exactly makes this loud noise and how it is generated during the engine operation. Then, we will be looking how engines design have evolved over time to reduce the noise, starting with the nozzle shapes and leading up to the smart innovations like chevron nozzles and acoustic liners. We will also talk something called as bypass ratio, a key concept in the engine design that not only improves the fuel efficiency but also plays a big role in the noise reduction. And finally, we will touch a few exciting technologies being researched today, like active noise control, that could make the future aircraft even quieter. So, by the end of this session, you will have a clear idea about how engineers have worked to make the sky quieter, a engine at a time. Okay, so let's talk about where the loud noise from the jet engine actually comes from. The biggest source of that noise is something called as turbulent mixture. Basically, when the engine blows out hot, fast moving air at the back, it smashes into a cooler and slower moving air outside. This creates a kind of messy, swirling interaction at the boundary called a shear layer. Imagine pouring a fast stream of water into a calm pool. You get splashing and ripplings. In jet engine, those ripples are like tiny air whirlpool or vortices, and even then they form a break apart really fast. They create noise, that roaring sound we hear. The bigger the speed difference between exhaust and the outer air, the louder the noise. That's why military jets are much louder. They throw out air at a very super high speed, but modern passenger aircraft uses a different type of jet engines that makes the air more gently, which is quieter, and we will see how that works in next few slides.
Let's take a quick look at how jet engine nozzles have evolved over time. In the early days, engines used simple straight nozzles, basically just a cylinder where the hot gases rushed out at very high speeds. These nozzles gave good thrust but were extremely loud because the exhaust hit the surrounding air very abruptly. Then, engineers developed convergent and convergent divergent nozzles, which improved engine performance by shaping the exhaust flow. These nozzles were common in supersonic jets like the F-16 and Concorde, but the noise was still quite high due to the fast exhaust velocities. With the arrival of high bypass turbofan engines used in most commercial airliners today, the nozzle started mixing the hot core exhaust with a large volume of cooler bypass air. This mixed flow nozzle lowers the exhaust speed, making the engine quieter and more fuel efficient. Finally, To tackle noise even further, engineers added chevron patterns to the nozzle edges. These create gentle swirls that smooth the mixing of air streams, reducing turbulence and noise without sacrificing thrust. So, from simple cylinders to high tech chevron nozzles, the design of engine nozzles has evolved significantly to meet the needs of quieter, more efficient flight.
Now let's go a bit deeper into these chevrons, which you might have seen but never noticed. If you look closely at the back of some modern engine like Boeing 787, you will see the zigzag or sawtooth shape around the edges of the engine. Those are called chevrons and they are not just for the decoration. Well, what do they do? Well, we remember that noise mixing we talked about earlier, where the faster jet exhaust hits the outside air. The chevrons help make that mix smoother and more controlled. Each little tooth of the nozzle create a small swirls of air, which helps the two streams blend together more gently. This reduces the turbulence and in turn reduces the noise, especially during takeoff and landing when the engines are at the loudest. And the best part, chevrons are just passive, meaning there is nothing that moves or to maintain. They are just built into the engines and do their job silently. By using chevrons, modern aircraft can be up to 2 or 3 decibels quieter, which makes a big difference near the airport and the urban areas.
Now, let's look at two smart ways engineers reduce jet engine noise: acoustic liners and bypass ratio. Acoustic liners are like sound absorbing foam panels inside the engine casing. They have small holes and layers that trap and absorb the engine noise, especially from the fan and core. Think of them like noise cancelling materials for jet engines. Then we have the bypass ratio. This tells us how much air goes around the engine core compared to how much air goes through it. Modern engines have a high bypass ratio, which means more air bypasses the core, and this cooler, slower air makes the engine quieter and more fuel efficient. So, in simpler terms, liners absorb noise and bypass ratio makes engine quieter by design.
Jet engines have traveled a long way since their early days, and the innovation hasn't stopped. Let's take a quick look at the cutting edge technology shaping the futures of the jet propulsion. Modern jet engines are now more fuel efficient than ever, thanks to the advanced material, better aerodynamics, and optimized combustion. Today's engine can produce more thrust using less fuel. For example, new turbofan engine can be up to more 15 to 20% efficient than their predecessors, reducing both cost and emission. One of the biggest game changer is the gear turbofan. Traditional engine spins all their parts at the same speed, but the geared turbofan has a reduction gearbox, which allows the fan and the turbine to rotate at their optimal speeds. This leads to quiet and more efficient engines, like the engines which are used in Airbus A320s.
Next is the hybrid electric and hydrogen engines. To make aviation greener, researchers are exploring hybrid electric engines which combine traditional jet engines with electric propulsion. These systems could reduce fuel usage during takeoff and taxiing. Meanwhile, hydrogen powered jet engines aim to produce zero carbon dioxide emissions. So, challenges like fuel storage and infrastructure remain. The last but not the least is the supersonic and hypersonic travel. The future might also bring back supersonic travel, flying faster than the speed of sound. Companies like Boom Supersonic are working on quieter, more efficient supersonic jets. Even more futuristic are hypersonic engines, like scramjets, which could travel at Mach 5 or more, potentially flying from New York to London in under 2 hours. Still in early stages, but the possibilities are thrilling. From cleaner engines to faster skies, the jet propulsion is on the brink of a new era. The sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
If you could travel on any jet engine powered aircraft in history, which one would you choose and why? Tell me in the comments which aircraft you would pick and what makes it special to you.
If you were designing an engine for a stealth aircraft, what kind of nozzle would you choose and why? Drop your thoughts in the comment box. I'd love to hear them.
How fast do you think the fast jet engines in the world can go? Take a wild guess in the comments. Let's see who gets the closest.
If you had to explain how a jet engine works to a non technical friend, how would you do it in just one or two sentences? Write your explanation in the comment box. Let's see who can describe it in the simplest and smartest way possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the flight has landed. Thank you for flying with us. Your pilots, Abhijit.
And Yashas Gupta. See you soon.